Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Welcome to the show. I am a life and business transformational success coach, illuminating and empowering others to find and embrace their life purpose, live their highest vision, and forge a strong foundation to what? Yes, soar to success. For more information, please reach us at ldcstrategies.com or loriannecasdia.com. Today on the show, we have Byron Davies. Dr. Davies studied at Caltech and MIT before earning his Ph.D. in electrical engineering from Stanford University. He has applied and expanded his knowledge by making improvements to health care, oil exploration, semiconductor manufacturing, business operations, and, of course, children's learning. His primary interest now is in exploring what he calls Black Swans of Wellness, wellness tools that are so powerful that they actually seem magical. So I'd like you to welcome to the show today, Byron Davies. Hey, Byron, thanks for coming on.
Hello, Lorianne.
How are you today?
Impressed. Very good, very good.
That is
glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. We actually have a cross-pollination here in our energies because I used to work in the semiconductor industry.
Oh, indeed.
Yep.
I recognize?
Yeah, I used to work for Arrow Electronics. I was a product manager, and then I used to negotiate contracts.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I know What?
I'm so impressed about your show. You're an online goddess. I just into your healthy lifestyle pages to see what your podcast is about. You've had over 170 episodes.
Yeah, well, they're not podcasts. It's a live radio show that we do every week.
That's what I know.
Yeah. And then it goes into podcasting, and actually there's probably more than that. We just don't always get them all on right away. And then it goes over to iHeartRadio, so we're excited about that. But we love it here in our studios at JVC Broadcasting, and adore the fact that they give us this opportunity to bring amazing humans like you on to elevate your story so people know what you're out there doing. Go ahead.
You have an actual producer to help avoid those technical problems that face the rest of us. And you've interviewed Jacob Young.
Yes, I have.
Living Essential Oils Dynasty, and Laura Clancy and Deborah Schlosser.
Yes. And also Ben Perkis, Dr. Ben Perkis. And also, I'm just trying to remember some of we've had some amazing guests, magical guests on here. And
you combine Kundalini and tequila.
Well, who wouldn't combine Kundalini and tequila? Probably most yogis, but that's another conversation. So I was going over information about you, what I know about you. I've been so blessed to have you as part of my life, or me part of yours, however that works. And you do speak a lot about wellness. So what do you mean when you speak wellness? What does that mean to you?
Well, wellness to me is wellness holistically. That includes body, mind, spirit, health, physical wellness, and happiness.
Yeah.
Health, wealth, and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So all those things. To lead a full life or to lead the best life, you need to optimize all of those.
I love that. And how did you choose the name Black Swans of Wellness? I love that. It's so lyrical.
That's a complicated story, but that, as you said in the intro, it's about wellness tools that are so powerful, they're magical. And part of the magical part of it is that very few people know about them, and a lot of people who know about them don't believe that they actually have the powers that they do.
Yeah, we all have magic.
Example is the essential oil. There's something been around for a long time, and people in all of major detergent manufacturers are now including essential oils in their chemical offerings. But most people really don't understand how powerful essential oils can be, how they can change your mind, your physiology, your emotions. an amazing thing. So that's an example. So, but where the black swan terminology came from was from a gentleman named Nassim Taleb, who wrote a book called The Black Swan. And he wrote it about events that were so improbable that people acted as if they couldn't possibly happen. And the standard example is 9/11. If you stood across from the Twin Towers the day before 9/11, on 9/10, and said, well, what's the probability that those two buildings will be rubble tomorrow? And that's, well, 0. It couldn't happen. Impossible. And yet it did, and had huge consequences. Mm-hmm. So he applied that metaphor to a lot of things, but I applied it to learning. And my first, I guess I can go back in the why black swan. For thousands of years, everybody thought that swans were only white, that a black swan was an impossibility.
Right.
It was almost undiscussable. There's a time when the collective noun for swan was a whiteness of swans. But then explorers went to Australia and encountered the first black swan event because they saw an actual black swan. And it completely upset people's ideas of what a swan was. And
that goes to what I say all the time about the word impossible. It really means I'm possible. So
indeed.
Yes. So that doesn't really apply, right? That it doesn't not happen. So anything is possible if we put our minds to it. And really, it is a mindset. So I love that name. I love that story. That's amazing. How did you?
So we talked. Go ahead.
How did you get into the wellness? Because you have that background like I do, that you have all kinds of different things and opportunities and tools.
Scientific background.
Yeah, scientific background.
Yes. And how did I get into wellness?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's been a long-term interest. I mean, my mother was always really interested in different ways of being well. But my first black swan of wellness, although I didn't have that terminology at the time, was when I was in my 20s. And I had all kinds of physical problems, allergy-related problems. And let's say there were just 7 problems, including depression, but things that affected the body. Mm-hmm. And no doctor really knew what to do, except take steroids or something, which will just make the problem worse. But my office mate at Texas Instruments, that wonderful semiconductor company.
Texas Instruments, yes, that was one of the lines.
Yes, of course. My office mate had gone to this doctor who had helped him with his problem. He had a problem. Every day at 3:00, he would get a terrible migraine headache. And I was like, what the heck? Why at a particular time? And the doctor helped him figure out that it was because our shared office was next to the break room. Every day at 3:00, the coffee maker would come on. Turned out he had an acute sensitivity to coffee fumes. Oh. And these would give him a migraine headache. So I went to this doctor to see if he could fix my problem or my multiple problems. And it turned out he was one of 2 people in the world at that time who really understood chemical and food sensitivities and allergies. And he went through all these processes and tracked it down. There were 4 foods that I was allergic to. I was sensitive to chemicals, including natural gas. Got those out of my life, and my life was transformed.
Wow. All
those problems went away. At 27, I had arthritis in my sternum.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And they all went away, and they've stayed away ever since.
Isn't that amazing? That is such a great story, and that is a black swan. It's really funny because it reminds me of a story. I was down in Florida last year at a convention, and I walked by this person, and it happened to be involving a lot of essential oils, a lot of people vibing very, very high, vibrating very, very high. Essential oils do that anyway because there's vibration, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
But I walked by this woman, and she turned to me and she goes, "What is on you?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "I can smell these toxic chemicals on you." And I was like, "No, I'm thinking cleaners, things like that." And she goes, "I don't know what it is, but you need to stop using it. It's clearly in your hair. You need to stop using that. You don't understand." And the smell of plastic when you buy like those blow up beach balls or the blow up little tubes for the kids, that smell, that toxic smell. She said, I'm very sensitive to those kind of smells, that petroleum-based smell. And it really, really makes me nauseous when I smell it. And that's what I'm smelling in your product. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, I've used this hair product for I don't know how long, and I love it. And I love the way it smells and the whole 9 yards. And she says, I guarantee you, when you do what we refer to as a ditch and switch, which is ditch all the chemical products in your house and you switch to natural products, you're going to, within a month, 2 months time, you're going to not be able to tolerate that plastic smell either. And I was like, okay. I was thinking little cray cray. And I went on my day. And I then went through a ditch and switch. I switched all my chemical products out because, again, where I live on Long Island in New York in the United States. And we actually live on our aquifer. Our aquifer is underneath us. And we, unfortunately, on Long Island have a very high level of cancer on Long Island. And I'm like,
because all that hairspray and down
all that, 1,4-dioxane getting into our water supply, blah, blah, blah. I'm not alarming anyone. It's not at the level where it's really that bad. But I suspect, not being a scientist, but I suspect that may have something to do with it. So I wanted to do my part in helping the environment, in helping the future for my children and hopefully one day grandchildren, right? So
it would be better for us, all of us.
Exactly. So, doing my part, that's what I was trying to do. And don't you know, Cray Cray was right, because a month later, I had a sense of smell. That sounds so silly, right? I could smell things before, not a problem, blah, blah, blah. But I literally had this keen sense of smell, almost like puppies do, this really keen sense of smell where I could really smell toxins and chemicals at a very high level, and that it would actually nauseate me to be around them. And I used to be a big Clorox bleach advocate. Matter of fact, one day, a friend of mine came to my house, knocked on my door and went, Lorianne, what are you doing? I said, Saturday cleaning. And he said, I can smell the Clorox bleach at the end of your driveway. And it's like a half a mile, my driveway. So they were, well, maybe a little over exaggeration, but it seems like a half a mile when you're walking it. But he could actually smell it. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'm using too much. That was before I did the ditch and switch. But the point is that really changing, getting chemicals out of our lives like you did, finding out that you had that sensitivity, changed your life, changed your body composition. Isn't it amazing?
It was phenomenal. Even before I was informed about this, there's this phenomenon. I could not walk into a department store. The first thing you see when you walk into a department store is the perfume department.
Bob and weave.
Yeah, and those are not all natural.
No.
And then you go to the clothing department, and decades ago, clothing used to be saturated with formaldehyde.
Yeah. And
my ears would burn, my eyes would burn, and I just had to get out of there. My wife thought I was crazy. I just couldn't stand being in a department store.
Yeah.
And now once I got over got most of the chemicals out of my life, that wasn't such a severe problem after that. But I still avoid the detergent aisle and other sources of chemical, and the pesticide aisle in stores.
Yeah, that's really tough in like a Home Depot. It's like, oof, I can't go anywhere near the garden center because of some of the smells that are over there, and totally understandable. But what particular black swans have inspired you lately?
The biggest one, I'll name two. One is niacin, and one is electrical frequencies. Niacin, or vitamin B3, has some unknown properties to most of the world. There was a gentleman, an epidemiologist, and he has another thing that he does also. I forget the other term. But anyway, he noticed, remember, COVID started in early 2020. Around mid-2020, an article came out with something that was really opposite to the way you'd think. Because there's always thing about pre-existing conditions and so on, and people who had lung problems or heart problems or whatever before they got COVID, they were sure goners. And yet, people who smoked either didn't get COVID or COVID was not a serious problem for them. It's like, what's up with that? So this guy investigated it, figured it out. Turns out that one of the byproducts of tobacco combustion is nicotinic acid, which is another name for niacin or vitamin B3. So the smokers were getting a dose of vitamin B3 every time they lit up. And it protected them against COVID.
And we're certainly not advocating for people to smoke, but I hear what you're saying.
Right. Not advocating for people to smoke. But I am now an advocate for people taking what most people consider megadoses of vitamin B3. It turns out that it largely prevents COVID. It cures COVID, and that's a very strong statement, but there are, testimonials after testimonials. It deals with long-term COVID. So people who've had symptoms of COVID for months and months, when they take the vitamin B3, the symptoms very commonly go away.
Wow. So
every time.
So let me ask you something. Not all products are the same. We know that essential oils, there's different variants of essential oils. I liken it to olive oil. We got extra virgin olive oil, and then we have olive oil, so which is kind of more like vegetable oil. But so extra virgin olive oil has only been pressed once. And every time you press it, you lose the extra, right? So every time it gets pressed or cold pressed or processed, it gets lighter and lighter. Another way to look at it is coffee. If you take the same grinds of coffee and make a cup of coffee from the same grinds, as you go through, the cup of coffee gets lighter and lighter and lighter. So that's what happens with essential oils and other products. So when you say vitamin B3, not all B3 vitamins are the same. How do we know? How do we find the right vitamins that really are giving you what you really need, as opposed to just wasting your money?
So vitamin B3, yes, there's the standard niacin or nicotinic acid. Nicotinic acid is what you're looking for, but they don't often say that. Don't necessarily say that on the label. But there are other kinds. And the thing about nicotinic acid is what's called the niacin flush. If you take nicotinic acid for about a half an hour, your skin will turn this beautiful rosy color, and you may feel warmth around your body, and in some cases some little prickly heat. And that goes away after about a half an hour. That's the flush niacin is the standard term for it. There are also no flush niacin, which don't have the same effect, and there's also something called niacinamide, which is also called vitamin B3, which has some of the effect, but it also has liver toxicity. And so what you want is the flush niacin. And if anybody wants to learn more about this, there's actually the website for the gentleman who does all this. It's called I'll say it one way, homeostasis.com, except that he replaces the E with a 3. So it's like the elite spelling of homeostasis. With HOMEOSTASIS.com. And he talks about it there and talks about the overall protocol, because it turns out there are a couple other things you'd want to take with your niacin if you really want to get into it. But it's very exciting. They've seen improvements in people with multiple sclerosis and Lyme disease.
Wow.
So this is a big deal, and it's definitely a black swan in my terminology. I tell you.
Go ahead.
I tell you, it's my brother got started on niacin a few months after I did. He saw the benefits I was getting from it, including clearer thinking and less inflammation and so on. He had cancer in 2003, and he was left with some side effects from the radiation. And by 2020, actually immediately he had a bald spot on his head. He had head and neck cancer, and so the radiation got to create a bald spot on his head. And he had eye damage, which took a long time to develop. But by 2020, he had, on one day he lost 100% of his vision in the eye on that side, and it kind of stabilized. That 25% of his visual field was gone. he started taking the niacin, basically for the COVID advantages. And after a couple months, he went to his hair cutter, who he'd been with for 15 years, and his hair cutter said, "Did you get implants?" And I said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, your hair's growing back."
Oh my goodness! Hold on to that story. I want to come back to that when we need to go to a break. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Ann. We're going to continue with Byron Davies and that amazing story. We need to do that and hear about his other recent black swan. Again, stay with us. Come on back. You are listening to Lori Ann at Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Ann on 103.9 JVC Broadcasting. Right here. We will be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Ann. I am Lori Ann Casdia. Whether your goal is improving your health, increasing prosperity in business, developing a business and marketing strategy, nurturing spiritual growth, you're in the right place. I will help you shift your mindset, harness your talents, remove resistance, rise above your limitations. You will be empowered to create your desired reality as I guide you. The results are based on an approach of shifting mindset and achieving your goals in business through personalized strategies. And I'll show you how to take your vision to the next level, guiding clients to transcend into true leaders through my proven 3-pillar of success: physical, intellectual, and spiritual levels. I can help you overcome fear and thrive, and I can provide tools for success. I help eliminate self-limiting beliefs through radical honesty, radical responsibility, and radical self-love. Instituting all these tools with consistency and accountability, it'll enable you to grow your business and become a more effective leader. And what? Yes, soar to success. Thank you guys all for joining us today. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to lift and elevate your business up, please take a moment, reach out to us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. If you want to speak to me about your business and improving your life, please reach out to us. Again, healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. So excited about this. So we are speaking to Byron Davies. He is an unbelievable resource from
unbelievable. Amazing. How about amazing?
Amazing from Black Swan.
People have to believe it.
I do believe it. BlackSwan.life is your website. Telling us a story about your brother and how he went to get his hair cut and they thought he was getting implants because his hair was thickening based on taking his B3. I love those stories. You had mentioned you had a couple of recent black swans. What's another black swan story?
The second one is electrical frequencies. This is stuff that was explored in the 40s, maybe even before then by Tesla. But primary gentleman who did the work in this was a guy named Royal Rife, R-I-F-E. You can look him up. And he developed this huge machine with vacuum tubes and so on, cost tens of thousands of dollars to generate frequencies that you could apply with very low voltage to the human body. And some of the things that he found were that if you got the right frequency, you could kill bacterial infections, viral infections, cure cancer. And I can't speak to the truth of that.
Well, that's a big statement. It kind of reminds me of my TENS machine.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's actually similar to a TENS machine, except at much lower voltage. So you don't feel it. Like the TENS that really shakes up your muscles. But yes, it's the similar principle, but it uses lots of different frequencies. So frequencies from 1 hertz or 1 cycle per second up to 1 million cycles per second, depending on the malady or the issue that you're trying to deal with.
So now you've probably heard about 528 hertz music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is a musical vibration that also does that shake-up that you're talking about, where you can really, one, it's very helpful if you have issues sleeping. I have found through my own personal experience and through testimonials of other people, I have found that utilizing that at night, shut off your TVs, put on the 528 music, You can find it anywhere. And by putting it on, your sleep is better. It's deeper, and you are more productive and very rested the next day. And those different
I totally believe in sound healing.
Yes, without a doubt. And I do sound bowl healing and things like that. But this is really, a vibrational thing without a doubt that you can infuse positivity, mindset changes and things like that by using it. And if you have problems sleeping, I assure you, if you do that, if you listen to 528 music for 30 days, you will want to listen to that every night for the rest of your life, because it just changes the value of your sleep. And quite frankly, I found that I don't need as much sleep anymore.
Yep. Well, sound is on my long list of black swans. we will get into that on one of our own podcasts one of these days. I have a Facebook-based podcast called Black Swans of Wellness, which is the topic here. You can just search on Facebook for that. We do a weekly show on a given topic, and it's brilliant. And typically we also throw in a niacin update, because the niacin protocol continues to change over time as Dr. Katz improves it, and then we also have a wellness tip of the week in general.
Yeah, it's really great. So, what makes you a good advocate for the Black Swans of wellness, Byron?
Well, partly it's my long history. I mean, I've really been interested in this. Partly, I'm just in this community of people, particularly associated with Young Living, who are totally focused on wellness, and they've found their own black swan. Hold on a second.
I really enjoy, Young Living Essential Oils is the company name, and they have more than essential oils. They have all kinds of products. As a matter of fact, there's new products out right now that's a protein shake, and then they have a collagen that you could add to the protein shake or drink directly. And then my newest fave, other than the collagen, of course, is the green Ningxia. Oh my goodness, I'm just dying on that product right now.
No, there's an amazing set of products. What's I going to say?
So we were talking about how.
I know.
What makes you a good advocate?
Yes. What makes me an advocate? And one of the things about Black Swans of Wellness is that all of these things I've actually tried.
Yeah.
And had some positive. When I talk about it, I have some positive experience. An example that I haven't yet talked about, I was trying for a while, and I will try again, was something called ASEA, which is a special drink which has some charged ions in it that supposedly get in and change your cells and help actually change cellular communication or intercellular communication as well. I haven't yet encountered a benefit from that, so I'm not gonna talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
But I do talk about things that I do know about and have tried.
Yeah.
And gotten positive results myself with them.
So how does your work with Young Living fit into your work with Black Swans of Wellness?
Well, the Young Living essential oils are definitely a black swan. I mean, they have profound effects. I mean, I put Valor on just before we talked here to make sure I had plenty of courage and Valor is like Young Living oil blend. Just make sure I had the courage to speak with the goddess Lorianne, and I use the oils regularly.
Yeah.
And Young Living, like you say, it's not just oils. The Ningxia product has been really good for me. It's good for energy.
Yeah.
But I'm an older man, and older men are commonly plagued with issues with their prostate. And Ningxia, the red drink, really seems to have benefits in those areas, so that you don't need the drugs. Even the natural things that are supposed to be good for prostate, they smell terrible, and my wife would complain about the smell of my urine in the bathroom. And then the pharmacological ones, the pharmaceutical ones they have all kinds of side effects.
Yeah.
You really don't want them in your body.
Yeah. It's when the side effects are worse than the condition, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Right.
Yeah, and that's what what I find. By the way, P.S. to our listeners, Ningxia is made up primarily of wolfberries, and so it really, really, really good for your body. You have I think the stat is 60 pounds of vegetables in one shot. 1 ounce shot of Ningxia, which is just amazing.
It's amazing.
I take it every morning. It just lights up my life.
Yeah. They infuse it with essential oils too, so
Correct.
That actually helps all those wonderful nutrients penetrate into the cells and have their benefits. So yeah, it's a great drink, and I have it twice a day, every day.
Nice. When we were talking about the comparison of essential oils and olive oil, the Young Living essential oils, they purposefully only press or not diffuse. What's the word I'm looking for? Distill. They only do it once. And there's a reason for it, because Gary Young determined and discovered the level of where the medicinal assistance comes in from the plant, where all those good properties come in. And sometimes it just, they don't always smell good the first time that you smell them. And then that's usually when you know you need that particular essential oil, because after you use them for a while, they start to smell good for you. And I always thought that was uncanny that was the case. When somebody told that to me, again, I was, dissension Nelly over here, and I was just like, no, that can't possibly be. And sure enough, I used one of the essential oils, and I didn't like the smell, and now I love the smell of it, which is really very interesting.
Joy was the oil that I didn't like the smell of.
Oh my gosh, I love Joy. It's so beautiful. I always put Joy on when I fly.
Right. Yeah. When after a while, I came to enjoy the smell of that too.
Yeah, there must have been a component or element in it that was not, that you needed. And after you used it for a while, it brought it in. But Joy is a beautiful, it actually, and a lot of people don't know this, Joy was originally called Love. And then they switched it to Joy.
Oh, so another black swan technique, which I haven't talked about on my podcast yet, is I call stacking, which I got from Tony Robbins. People who talk about stacking, they say, well, you don't want to just do one self-improvement method. You want to use this one and that one, gets all the benefits, and they exponentially improve each other. And so that seems to be true for some of these black swans of wellness also. And so an example, this is a serendipitous example. I had, on a day I had acupuncture scheduled, and I was rushing off to acupuncture, and so I took didn't have time to take my niacin before that, so I did the niacin stuff just before I went to acupuncture. And I went and had the acupuncture, and have you done acupuncture?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. So with the acupuncture nap, that basically once you've had all the needles stuck into you, you just fall asleep. And it's like, for me, it's like an hour, almost timer on the clock, an hour, and then I wake up and I feel great. So this one time, when I woke up after an hour, I just felt what I call transcendental bliss. I'd never experienced that before. I just felt amazingly good.
Yeah.
And it went on and on for minutes and minutes. It was like 20 minutes. I was just on this amazing high apparently from niacin and acupuncture. And some of the niacin opens up the circulatory system so well, and then the acupuncture does its thing. Opens
up the meridians. Yep.
And I was just so naturally I wanted to duplicate. I wanted to see if I could replicate that.
Yeah, of course.
And so I went back, and it didn't happen the next time, but then the time after that, it happened again. Actually, the first time I was kind of disappointed because I had another appointment. I scheduled another appointment after my acupuncture, so I actually had to leave before the effect completely dissipated. And so the next time that it worked, I was careful not to schedule anything afterwards. I want to see how long I could keep this going.
Yeah.
And so it went on for a while, and then it started to tail off. And I don't know why, but I tried stacking a third thing, which was gratitude.
Yes.
And of course, I was very, very grateful for that moment. I started expressing gratitude and saying, thank you so-and-so for being a part of my life. Thank you, another person, for being a part of my life. Thank you for this and for that. And the effect was enhanced, and it continued and continued and continued until finally the acupuncturist kicked me out of the chair.
Yeah, sure. You need to leave now.
Right.
And stacking is very, very effective. I will say, if you've never stacked before, you need to do one at a time and add an additional one. And as you do, you add an additional one. And the reason why is exactly what Byron just said. It's like taking a whole bunch of different medicines at the same time. You don't want to take them all because you don't know if you're having a side effect to which one, if you have any side effects at all. So you take one, you figure out how you feel on that. Then you take that and you add one. So now you know what the differential is. So it's actually very scientific to do stacking. And then you have what I refer to for my clients as a power hour. And that is essentially an hour worth of stacking that you do consistently, like a ritual, or we refer to it as a habit. And that actually sets the tone for your day. So I really do encourage, if you haven't done it, reach out to me. I'll walk you through best procedures and protocols to do things like that, that fit into your life, that makes sense for you, because it makes sense for people on different levels in different ways. So we could definitely talk about that. But in the meantime, I love it. I find it very effective, and something similar happened to me. It wasn't with a niacin, but I was actually having acupuncture as well. And I had brought in some new essential oils, and I asked them to use those essential oils in the room while I was getting my acupuncture. And a similar thing happened. And when I woke up, this feeling of joy was the feeling of, just think of the best thing bestest, as my little kids used to say, bestest thing that ever happened in your life. That's the feeling you had. It was very ethereal. It was very euphoric.
Indeed.
And it was absolutely beautiful. And I just wanted to go out and not that I did that because it would have scared a lot of people, but just hug everybody. I was just in one of those, so grateful, so appreciative. I drove home, and I'm telling you, if I had a theme song that day, it would have been something like la 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 la, because I was just so happy. And it was such a beautiful thing. So stacking is very effective, as well as all these other
I haven't tried it with the oil.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
My acupuncturist has a no scent rule, so it might not work there.
Gotcha. Well, if you use it directly after having acupuncture, it works as well. So if you go to the car and put it on, you're going to maintain that level. But Byron, let me ask you a question straight out. What's your why? Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do this? My desire is to ultimately help 1 billion people have better lives, and radically better lives. And through wellness, I also have an interest in children's learning. So another company that's developing software for learning, because I have I discovered black swans of learning as well. And so yeah, I want the world to be a radically better place.
I love it.
Starting with wellness and learning.
I love it. Yeah. And I love what, I send out questions and things, and I love that you want to help 1 billion people excel in mind, body, spirit, health, wealth, and happiness. I think that is absolutely a beautiful goal. And I know that you will achieve it, because you are that person who can achieve anything, because you really put your head down. And I'm so blessed and so excited to be working on a leadership team with you and Dr. Trish and Deborah and Laura and Ellie and, oh my gosh, Joby, and the whole host of other people who are...
What a group of amazing, mostly women in me.
Mostly women in you, and just excelling beyond. But speaking of excelling, in the last couple of minutes, you wrote a song, my friend. You are somebody who wrote a single associated with Young Living, because we all use this phrase when we're talking in life, which is, I have an oil for that. And you actually wrote a song called that, correct?
Indeed, I did. And in fact, this whole new songwriting career emerged over the last 6 months. I mean, just a couple months after I started on niacin, I got much more interested in guitar, which I'd never had formal training in. But I picked up guitar and started self-teaching myself. So I started self-teaching. And then I just started writing songs.
Yeah, that's what we all do. We just pick up we self-teach ourselves an instrument and then just write songs that are now on what? Spotify. Where else can they find I Have an Oil for That?
Apple Music, YouTube.
Yeah, everybody does that, Byron. What? Stop.
I kind of wonder whether everybody could do that.
You overachiever, you. I think anybody who puts their mind to it can, but you really have set a path that allows you to.
But I didn't set my mind to it. It just emerged, and so I'm thinking that it has to do something with some of the wellness practices.
I'm sure it has to.
Oils for one.
I'm sure the oils, I'm sure the stacking, I'm sure that unbeknownst to you, you did put your mind to it because we use that term all the time and you probably went, we need a song, and then you wrote one. So,
well, what happened was my first song was called It's Tough to Be Me. And it was totally inspired. And if something can come from God, this came from God. And I was on a Zoom call. And it was business oriented. Somehow, two of the women on the call started commiserating about how hard it was to be beautiful. I mean, these are very beautiful women. One of them is so beautiful that she doesn't even show her face on a Zoom call. She just puts up an icon, because she gets so much unwanted attention. And so when I was falling asleep that night, the song appeared, and just started. The line came out, "It's tough to be me." And so the first verse of the song is, "It's tough to be me, I'm beautiful. It's tough to be me, I'm wonderful. It's tough to be me, I've got a beautiful life. It's really tough to be me." And then the chorus goes, "Everybody wants to love me. Everybody wants to be with me. Older women want to mother me."
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's terrible, terrible, Byron. I want everybody to look that up. Byron, thank you so much for being...
That one hasn't been published yet.
Well, you should publish it.
The last song has...
Definitely look it up. Definitely look that up on the Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes. Byron, thank you so much for being on. I wish we had more time. I want to have you back. Look up Byron at blackswan.life. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I know you have a lot of choices, and I really appreciate the fact that you choose to spend time with us. I want to thank Byron Davies again, Dr. Byron Davies, I should say. And if you're looking for a business coach, accountability, strategy, direction, a sounding board, someone to help streamline your business or more, or if you're not sure, feel free to reach out to us at 516-983-3591 so we can help you soar to success. Thank you again for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. Shameless plug, Women Who Dream on Amazon on July 20th. Yes, that's my book coming out. Look for our next show next Saturday at 3 p.m. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big.